So what exactly the customizations are, and what are we trying to do here, all these things. So Salesforce.com provides CRM that has to customize. Salesforce.com provides CRM that needs to be customized, okay, which has to be customized. Why do I need to customize? I already told you. So if you look at here, Salesforce provides CRM. So that's nothing but sales, services, all these things. This needs to be customized. Why do we need to customize? So if you look at the accounts page, so this is what the look and feel is. Most of the companies may not like this look and feel, especially the standard companies. They want the look and feel on their own standards. So let's go to the contract. This is what the look and feel. Companies may not like this one, this kind of look and feel. So therefore, obviously they'll go for the customization. So therefore, for customizations, we have two ways. Okay, we'll see that one by one. And Salesforce.com or Salesforce Development uses MVC architecture. So I hope you guys are aware of what is MVC architecture. Do you want me to explain, or you are good with the MVC? So Salesforce Development uses MVC architecture. So okay, right. So let me go ahead and explain MVC architecture. MVC stands Model View Controller. Model View Controller. So now let me see, this is like a design pattern. MVC, people call it as a architecture or design pattern. This, as I am saying, it is a design pattern. That means it is a concept. That concept is implemented in so many places. If you see, Struts is having MVC architecture, ADF is having MVC architecture, our Salesforce is having MVC architecture, Spring is having MVC architecture. If you come to the WebDrill Pro, even ABAP WebDrill Pro is MVC architecture, Java WebDrill Pro is MVC architecture. Most of the places this MVC architecture is implemented. Now, what exactly this MVC architecture is, how it is going to help the development. So if you see here, in the real time, if you see in the company, there will be database guys. There will be UI guys. UI guys are nothing but who develop the UI. And there will be between database and UI, what you will be doing? You will be writing the logic. These are the three things generally a company do. Or in any company, in any project, these are the three things generally. I am repeating again. In the companies, generally there will be database. So to take care of the database, we will be having database administrator, this and all. Okay. So to present the data to end users, you will be writing the UI. So there will be a data, or there is a database and there is a UI. So in between database and UI, there will be something called logic, which will take care to bring the data from the database to UI. So that means these are the three areas majorly companies will do the development. Now coming to this one. So if I don't have a MVC architecture, implemented in the project, then all these three things has to taken care by single developer, or developers are responsible. Developers are responsible to take care of all these three. What does it mean? Let's say I am the developer, you are the developer, working for the project. then you are responsible for all these three. I am also responsible for all these three. Now, take the scenario. So, how many people are there who take care database, UI and logic? You can find it is very difficult. So, and even though you find the way you get outcome from the UI expert, the way you get outcome from this guy is very less. You may find a guy who knows database, UI, logic, but you may not get the outcome. You may not get the outcome. The guy who gives let's say there is a UI expert. So UI expert guy is giving X amount of outcome. The same outcome you may not expect the guy who is giving all these three. That means what? Ultimately your application standards are reducing. Ultimately your application standards are reducing. If application standards are reducing, then you will see plenty of the problems. So that's why what people will do is that they will divide this database, UI and logic into three pieces. So that's nothing but MVC. That means if you are implementing in the project MVC architecture, or if you are implementing in the project MVC model or MVC design pattern, then your database will be separated. That means there will be a connectivity, but your database will be separated, your UI will be separated, and your logic is going to be separated. Now, you can have database experts here, you can have UI experts here, okay, you can have logic experts here. So therefore, you will be, as database experts are there in this project, so therefore that guy can give maximum outcome. As you are using UI experts here, that means basically you are going to divide the work into three pieces: UI work, database work and logic work. And for database work, you are going to give it for the database experts. The UI work you are going to give for the UI experts. The logic work you are going to give for the logic experts. So as all experts are working, you will be getting excellent product, or you will be getting excellent development. That is going to reduce the errors, that is going to give better performance. All these things are possible. This is why people use as the MVC architecture. Now, so as I said, this is a different area, this is a different area, this is a different area. Then how are these interconnected? Let me show you. Instead of I draw the diagram, I can take it from here. How are these are connected? Because if you see here, all these three are used for single project. So obviously this has to be connected. So how these are connected? I think I don't have here. I can Google it. That's not a problem. It's not only related to Salesforce. It's a common technology or common design pattern. So let me search. MVC architecture. So if you look at here, so many people visualize MVC on their own way. I'll take this one is the best one. Now you can also see model view controller. This is also good. From the computer you are doing something and all, or this is also good. So let me take this one because it is having a lot of explanation. Okay. So if you look at here, so the model is nothing but the database. The model is nothing but the database. That means in the MVC architecture I said there will be a model, or in the company you will be having database, UI and logic. So the database is nothing but model here. So the database is nothing but the model. So if you look at here, so whatever they talk about here, that is nothing but the database. Next, view is nothing but UI. View is nothing but UI. So that means how you are going to present your data to end users. View is nothing but the UI. Then controller. Controller means, let's say, if you let me show you here. I click on this one. Once I click on this one, a drop down, the menu is open. I go here, a drop down is open. I go here, a menu is open. I go here, something is open. How it is open? Because inside that there is a logic. I am pressing Alt F. The menu is open. I am pressing something Control P. Some options came. How these are happening? Because there is a logic behind. So that's nothing but a controller. So controllers are nothing but interactions. That means what happens when user press Control F? What happens if user press Control P? What happens when user press save? What happens when user press cancel? All these are nothing but controller logic. Okay. Next, what is here? So if you look at here, this is nothing but the UI. So home, insert. What needs to be there in the home? What needs to be there in the insert? What needs to be there in the page layout? These are all given for the end user to use. That's nothing but the UI. That's nothing but the view. Then database. If something coming from the database, then you will be having obviously a model. That model is nothing but the database here. So that's why. So now I said in the project you will be having three things: database, UI and logic. So the database is nothing but the model. Okay, the database is nothing but the model, and UI is nothing but the view, and logic is nothing but controller. Logic is nothing but the controller. Now if you look at here, this is how it is. Now let me show you another architecture, the simple one. So this is the simplest one. So this is outcome. So the model, that means database. View, what needs to be shown for the end user. Controller, interactions. How one page can interact with other page. When you click on next, how are we moving to next page? When you click on cancel, how are you cancelling that operation? All these are part of the controller. So therefore, the model is nothing but the database. So if you have the database, obviously you need to pull the data from the database to UI. That's why there is a view update or update view. If you look at the arrows, you need to understand arrows. Why there is an arrow from view to or model to view? Because of the reason is your view always get the data from the database. Your view will get the data from the database. Now in the view, let me show you. Let me show you in case of Salesforce. Let me show you in case of Salesforce. Now I click on leads. I click on leads. I am getting all these things. Or let's click on our merchandise. So I am getting this record. This is nothing but what? View. I am getting this records from where? From the database. I am getting these records from where? From the database. That's why these are. From database to view, there is an arrow. from database to view, there is an arrow. Next, if you see, I click on, I go to this record, I click on edit. This is nothing but a controller. So that means what? Between the view and the controller, there are. So if you look at here, between view and the controller, there are action. Between view and controller, there are some arrows. The reason is, within the view, this is the view. In this view, I click on this record. That is nothing but the controller. I am going to the page. I click on edit. This is nothing another controller. I go to here. Now, I press 11 here. Click on save. So that means what? This is a view. Inside the view, this is a view. Inside the view, I click on save. That means controller. This controller takes this data and put it in the database. Takes this data and put it in the database. That means controller to database. Controller to database. That's why these arrows are. Now, any questions on the MVC architecture? Now, let me tell you what exactly M in the Salesforce, what exactly view in the Salesforce, what exactly controller in the Salesforce. Okay. So, in the Salesforce, model is nothing but okay. In the Salesforce, model is nothing but database tables or database objects. So model is nothing but database objects. That means what? If you look at here, for this merchandise, there is one object. What is the object name? We already created. Channa merchandise object we created. Where that is stored? It is stored in the database. So therefore, in the Salesforce, what is the model? The model is nothing but database objects. That means what? So your Channa merchandise object 1. Okay. Next, Channa invoice statement object 1. All these are models. Next, in the Salesforce, what is a view? Now look at here. For merchandise, there is a page here. This is nothing but a view. So I click on this record. I am getting another page. So this is nothing but the record. I click on edit. I am getting another page. This is nothing but the view. I go to the invoice statement. I have something. This is nothing but the view. I click on invoice statement. I have something. This is nothing but the view. I click on edit. I have something. This is nothing but the view. So therefore, in the Salesforce, view is nothing but overview page, or list page, or edit page, or details page, or dash. All these are views. If you look at here, I click on this one. So these are the overall products. Or this is the list page. I click on this one. This is the details page. I click on edit. This is the edit page. All these are nothing but the views. So in terms of Salesforce, overview page, list page, edit page, details page, all these are the views. Now what is a controller? What is a controller in terms of Salesforce? So the controller is nothing but tab navigation, or new buttons, or edit buttons, or save buttons, or links, All these are nothing but the models, controllers. What does it mean? If you look at here, I click on this tab, I click on this tab, I click on this tab. Something is changing. So these are nothing but the controllers. Now I click on this one. Something is changed. So this is nothing but the controller. I click on edit. The edit is nothing but the controller. I click on save, controller. I click on cancel. All these are the different controllers. That means controller says what happens when you click on the tab navigation, what happens when you click on the button, what happens when you click on edit button, what happens when you click on the save button, what happens when you click on the links. What is this? So here is that open activity. This is a link. So what happens when you click on the link is nothing but again a controller. So therefore controller takes care what happens when you click on the button, what happens when you click on the edit button, save button, all these things controller will take care. Okay. Now as I said, if you look at here, so let me put this architecture, MVC architecture. So this is nothing but the MVC architecture. Okay. So I explained in terms of Salesforce what is M, what is V, what is C. So therefore in terms of Salesforce, whenever you are creating an object, that's nothing but the model. In the Salesforce, whenever you are creating a page, that is nothing but the view. In the Salesforce, whenever you are writing logic, what happens when you click on the edit button, what happens when you click on the save button, all these things, that's nothing but the controller. That's nothing but the controller. So therefore now we have seen all these things. Okay. Now let me explain a little bit more. So view. If you look at the view, I said view is nothing but the pages. So therefore now what is the view definition? What we see on pages is called view. So what we see on pages is called view. That means what? I'm just defining more. So if you look at here, this is whatever we see, this is called view. Whatever we see, that is called view. So therefore, view is nothing but what we see or what end users see is called view, or in other words, view is simply called as web pages. Web pages. View is nothing but web page. So if you look at here, these are all the pages. These are the pages. So now if you want to define little bit more, you can define like this also. How the user interface and data presented. How user interface or data presented to user is called view. Is called view. That means how the user interface. That means this is how the UI is. So if you look at the reports or dashboard, if you look at the dashboard, this is how the UI is. If you look at the reports, this is how the UI is. This is how the UI is. So therefore, what I have written here, how the user interface. These are called the user interface elements. So if you look at here, go to the merchandise. So ABC record, we are showing it as a hyperlink. That's nothing but a UI element. Lenovo, we are showing it as a hyperlink. That's nothing but again UI element. So that means how user interfaces, UI. How the UI and the data. So that's not ABC, where it is coming from? It is coming from the backend. So that's nothing but the again data. how the UI and the data presented to user is called UI or is called view. So that's the maximum. Those are the explanation about the view. Now coming back to the model. Let's explain a little bit more on the model. Salesforce has force.com. I already explained what is a force.com? PAS. I already explained about this one. Salesforce.com internally will have force.com. That's nothing but the PAS. That's nothing but platform as a service. And this force.com, please you need to have a lot of patience to understand the theory. So if you are able to catch the theory, then it will be great for us. See, telling the exercises, telling the program is very easy than the theory. You might have been observed in your studies also. Studying computer organization or computer networks is very heavy. Or operating system. Okay, that's fine. Let me not go there. This force.com provides, as if you see, force.com is what? PAS. PAS is nothing but platform as a service. What is a platform as a service? I already explained. So let me give in terms of Salesforce now. This force.com provides environment for us to develop our own applications or our own requirements. Our own requirements. In bracket, what is the meaning of our own requirements? What did we develop till now? We develop applications, we develop objects, we develop fields, we develop relations, all so on, so. Let me repeat again. Salesforce.com has force.com. That's nothing but the PAS, platform as a service. That means it is providing the platform. As it is providing the platform, it helps us to develop our own requirements. Okay, now it is help us to develop our own requirements. How do you develop? Let's say you are writing a program. How do you write the program? You write the program using API or using libraries. That means what? Using PAS or using force.com, I said we can develop our own requirements. That means what? PAS provides API. So you are developing your own program means to write your own program you should use some APIs. API is nothing but the library. API is nothing but the library. Still, what is API? What is a library again? Please remember this. PAS provides API. API is nothing but the library. What is the library again? It's nothing but collection of functions. Remember this. Whenever people call it as API, whenever people call it as library, it's simply nothing but set of functions. It's simply nothing but set of functions. So in the C programming, you will be writing something called printf. You will be writing something called scanf. I don't know how many people are remembering C language. How many people remember C language? Shiva, Varsha, Supreet, do you guys remember C language? At least printf, scanf, getch, getch and getche. Do you guys remember? C language. Hey, how come Supreet? Okay, you are saying you do not remember getch, at least printf, scanf. Yes, little bit. Yeah, at least you need to remember printf, scanf. That's where we started our life. That's where we started our life. Don't forget at least printf and scanf. Okay, so that's what, if you see, this is one my favorite programming language, especially if you see C language is my favorite programming language. That's where sometime back I was teaching called the Crack Top 20 companies. I'm just giving a brief introduction on this because it's going to help for you also. Crack Top 20 MNCs. So this is a program which I was conducting, Crack Top 20 for MNCs with IIT person called Timmareddy. So what we were talking on this? We were talking only on building the logics. If you see, if you go to forget about Infosys, TCS, all these things. If you want to go to Yahoo, if you want to go to Google, if you want to go to Motorola, if you want to go to Samsung, these guys wants to see your data, the logic programming. What does it mean? Let's say if you want to write a big number programming, how do you write? Main. If you want to write a big number programming in C language, how do you write? Main int a comma b, int a comma b, CLR SCR. Then you will say printf, enter two numbers. Then scanf. How do you read two numbers? %d, comma, address of A, comma, address of B. So now you got the two numbers. Now how do you write the logic? If A less than B, then printf, if A less than B, which is the big number? Printf, B is the big number, B is big, else you will say A is the big number. A is big number. So this is what the logic everyone writes. If you see, nowadays a 6th class guy is also writing this logic. Because C language is there in the corporate schools now, from the 6th class. Then after you studied BTech, you are writing this logic. Then why Google company or Yahoo company can give opportunity to you? See, if anyone asks write a C program to find out big number among two numbers, everyone is writing this one. From 6th class, I can say. Now you completed your master or degree or what is that? BTech or whatever it may be, and you are also telling the same. Then in what way they will identify you are unique? In what way they will identify you are unique? That's why if you look at in the top companies, they are not going to ask this kind of questions. They will ask the same question, but they will ask like this: can you write the same program without using else? Can you write the same programming without using else? Can you write the same programming without using less than and greater than? That means what? Can you write the same programming without using relational operators? Can you write the same programming without using if? You should not use if at all. Okay. Now, if you look at in this programming, how many statements are there? Can you answer? At least I come to know what exactly you understand the theory. In this program, nothing here. It's not good. I don't want to demote you, but I am just trying to tell you. So nothing is there to demote and all, because I see so many people are in the same frequency. Okay, let me not go there. So in this programming, how many statements are there? I need a response from each one. You can give whatever you want. That's not a problem. At least we can learn now. In this program, so if you look at here, main int, let me put it in a new line. This is a new line, this is a new line, all these things. In this program, how many statements are there? 12 statements. What is your response, Shiva, Suprit? 9. Suprit? Suprit? Suprit might be sleeping. 7. So how are you saying 7, Suprit? How are you saying 7?
Wherever it's ending with colon, that's a statement.
Yeah. See, the programming language critical point is what? Every statement ends with semicolon. This is what a program critical point. Every statement ends with semicolon. That means what? Here is the one. That means what? This entire thing up to this is one statement. So this is another statement. This is another statement. Another statement. And this entire thing is one statement. This entire thing is one statement, and this is a statement. And this cannot be like a what this around. So this is not a statement, it's like a lexical part of the programming. So therefore, if you look at here, how many semicolons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So therefore, number of statements in this program is called 7. Number of statements in this program is 7. It is not only this programming rule. If you see in Java also every statement ends with semicolon. Even our Apex also every statement ends with semicolon. So therefore, you should remember this theoretical point, every statement ends with semicolon. That means in the programming, if you have this many lines, that does not mean that okay, those many statements are there. So therefore here 7 statements are there. Can you write this logic in a single statement? That means by ending up one semicolon you should be able to write. So you should not use 7 statements, you should use only one statement, or let me put 2 statements. Even with one statement also it is possible, but I would suggest 2 statements. So these kind of questions the top MNCs are asking. So I can write the same programming in 16 ways. So these are all we were covering in that crack top 20 MNCs program. So that means basically we are going to talk about how to write the same programming in different ways and increase the logic building or increase the logical programming. The same way. So if you look at here, why are we using semicolon? Why are we using int? So like plenty of the questions are there. Let me not go there. Let me come out, because if I start C language, I keep on talking. Okay. Now coming back to here. Yeah. So why did we go there? So to explain printf scanf, so we go there. So therefore, so what is a library? Library is nothing but a collection of functions. What is the API? API is nothing but a collection of functions. That's it. Now I said PAS. PAS means what here? Force.com. Force.com provides API for us to develop our own requirements. So therefore we can use, where are we going to use this question is, let me put it as a question, where we use this API. Where we use this API. We will be using this API in 2 places in the Salesforce. The first one is Visualforce and the second one is Apex. First one is Visualforce and the second one is Apex. So hope you are clear with this theory. See, for each point I am trying to put connectivity. So model, in general, model is nothing but what? Database. So in the Salesforce, model is nothing but our objects. Now Salesforce has PAS, I already told. So therefore, PAS is nothing but platform as a service. That means it allows us to create or develop our own requirements. We are developing our own requirements. What? We are writing our own coding. To write our own coding, we should have functions. That means what? PAS is providing API. In which places we are going to use this API? We are going to use in the Visualforce as well as Apex. That means what? In the Visualforce, if I am using some function, so that's coming from where? That's coming from force.com. That's what the conclusion. Now let's come back again to controller. Let me come back to the controller. I already told what is the meaning of controller. Controller is nothing but, okay, so how the users interfaces, actions and logic represented is called the controller. So that means what I am trying to say here. So this is nothing but the user interface element. So if you click here, edit, delete, clone, all these are what? UI elements. These UI elements given to whom? The user. So therefore, what I have written here, how the user UI actions. How the user UI actions. That's nothing but. So if you look at here, these are the UI elements given to the user, and these are nothing but the actions again, and how those are presented. That means how the logic is presented. That means what? So what is the logic behind the edit? What is the logic behind edit? Opening the new window or new page with all these values. What is the logic behind the cancel? Going back to the previous page. What is the logic behind clone? Generating a duplicate copy. Generating a duplicate individual copy. So that's nothing but the controller. That's what the meaning of how the user UI actions and logic is presented. Is nothing but the controller. Now you can also define like this. Okay, so now generally in the Salesforce, I already defined controllers are nothing but actions, new button, edit button, all these things, tabs, all these things. Now let me put it in this. In the Salesforce, model is nothing but, I already told, in the Salesforce, model is nothing but database objects. Now in the Salesforce view, how do you achieve in the Salesforce model you are able to achieve using database objects or Salesforce objects. Let me put it in this way. Salesforce objects. That means where do you see the model? Model you will see as a Salesforce object. How do you see or how do you do view in the Salesforce? Using Visualforce. Using Visualforce. That means what? You will be creating view. You will be creating view using Visualforce. You will be creating view using Visualforce. Then how do you get the controller? How do you write the logic? So the logic you will be writing with the help of Apex. Hope now you understand what is the purpose of Visualforce and what is the purpose of Apex. So that means, so to have these UI elements, so edit, clone, delete, all these things, we are going to use Visualforce. When I click on the edit, bringing to the new page and setting up this data, all these things is part of the logic. That's nothing but the Apex. I am repeating again. What are we trying to do in the Salesforce with respect of MVC? So if you look at here, I am getting this data. I am getting this data from where? From the database. That's nothing but the Salesforce object. So that's nothing but the model. I am repeating the conclusions now because I want to close this concept. So if you look at here, I am getting this data. I am getting this data from where? From the database. From the database, what is there? Salesforce object. What is the object name here? Channa merchandise object. So that's why model is nothing but the Salesforce object. Now, so I displayed this results in particular page. If you look at here, details page. This is nothing but the details page. So how did we create this one, or how are we going to get this page? You can create that page using Visualforce. That means views are created using Visualforce. Views are created using Visualforce. Now, I click on edit. If you look at here, I click on edit. This is a UI element, part of the UI or part of the view. I click on this one. I open the new page and I bring the data, whatever there in the data details page, and I am putting it in this form. I am putting in this form. This is part of the controller. This is part of the controller, and controller programming we will do using Apex. So therefore, now tell me, what is a Visualforce? Visualforce is a markup language. Visualforce is a markup language. Markup language. Now what is a Apex? Apex is a programming language. Apex is a programming language. Okay, now Apex is a programming language. That's all about this one till now. Now let me know if you have any questions. What is MVC with respect to of Salesforce? With respect of Salesforce. Any questions on the MVC with respect of Salesforce? If yes, please ask me now. Else we can move to the Visualforce. Any questions, Shiva? Okay. Now let's talk about what is Visualforce. What is Visualforce? Okay. Or let me put it in this way. Before that, let me put it. I said if you look at, there is one point here. Yeah. If you look at here, Force.com provides environment for doing the development. So therefore, it is providing environment for doing development means what? It can also provide UI technologies. So the question is, what UI technologies? What UI technologies? What UI technologies Force.com provides? Or let me put it in this way. I'm just rewriting the question. Types of Force.com UI technologies. So what are the types of UI technologies? What are the types of UI technologies provided by the Force.com? So there are two types of things. The first one is page builder. The second one is Visualforce. So therefore, now we are talking about the Visualforce. That means it is provided by whom? Force.com. Force.com is part of Salesforce.com. So therefore, even though you say I am working in the Salesforce, Visualforce, all these things, so internally you are working with the help of Force.com. Okay. Now, so what are the types of UI technologies Force.com provides? Two types. First one is page builder and second one is Visualforce. When to go for the page builder, when to go for the Visualforce? That is again a question. So in the page builder, most of the UI is generated automatically. UI generated automatically. That means what? In the page builder, what you will do? You will specify this is what my object, then it generates the UI. Remember this, whenever UI is generated, you will not have much control. Once you do not have much control, then customizations are very difficult. So therefore, most of the UI is generated automatically, so no control of or limited. Let me put it in this way. Limited control of UI behavior. These are some beautiful theory, I can say, because that's what, I don't know how others feel, but convincing the theory is very difficult. So if you look at here, Visual Force, if you are using a Visual Force for generating the UI, or if you are using a Visual Force to create this kind of UI, here UI is generated automatically. Most of the UI is generated automatically. If UI is generated automatically, that means there are tools. So tool is generated means what? You have limited control of UI behavior. What does it mean? Let's say for cancel, it is cancelled and come back. That is the behavior right now. But I would like to have a message. What is the message? You press on cancel. Your unsaved data will be lost. That kind of message I want. So it's a difficult if you are using the page builder. That's what the meaning. Okay, I'm repeating again. So what are we trying to hear? Limited control of behavior. What does it mean? Assume that this page is created using page builder. That means what? Most of the steps are provided by page builder. Now I click on cancel. When I click on the cancel, I come back, just come back. But I would like to have a message. You press cancel, your unsaved data will be lost. So those steps are not possible. That's what the meaning of limited control of UI behavior. And look and feel. Let me put it in this way. Limited control of behavior or look and feel. So what is the meaning of look and feel? Limited control of UI behavior or look and feel. What is the meaning of look and feel? If you look at here, assume that this page you created using page builder. Now this edit button is in what color? Light gray color. I want to display in the red color. It's not possible. I want to display edit all capital letters. I want to display delete all small letters. These kind of steps are not possible. I'm not saying not possible. These kind of UI look and feel changes are limited. See, the advantage is what? UI is generated automatically. That means that is advantage. But the disadvantage is what? UI behavior is very less. I mean, control of controlling the UI behavior or look and feel is very less. That's why we go for the Visual Force. That's why we go for the Visual Force. Please remember this. This is how you need to visualize the technologies. If there is something and we are moving to something else, why are we moving? That is what we need to understand. Now, why are we moving to Salesforce? That's I already explained. Okay, in the first class itself I explained. Okay, now Visual Force. So here UI generated by developer. That means he has full control. Developer or technologist or technical person. I don't know whether can we call you as technologist? I don't know. Developer who is developing is called developer. Who is doing development? I don't know. Can we call it as technologist? Who do the painting is called a painter. similar way. I don't know whether we can call it as technologist or not. So let me put it in this way. Technical folk. Okay. So here UI is generated by technical person or developer or technical folk. So full control of UI behavior. Full control of UI behavior or look and feel. That's what I mean. That's why we go for the Visual Force. That's why we go for the Visual Force. Now, any questions on this? If no, let me see what is the Visual Force now. What is the Visual Force? I already explained more. So Visual Force is used to generate the UI. That's nothing but the view. So therefore, any Visual Force page so Visual Force can be used by our developers. Let me put it this way. Developers uses Visual Force for creating Visual Force pages, Visual Force page definitions, please stop. So if you want to create this kind of Visual Force page, then you will be using Visual Force technology, and it consists of, so if you see here, Visual Force page definition. So therefore, page definition consists of two things. Please catch these points, else it is very difficult to understand the programming. Page definition consists of two elements or two primary elements. What are those two primary elements? So developers use Visual Force for creating the pages. That page basically consists of two primary elements. What are the two primary elements? The first one is Visual Force markup. Visual Force markup, and the second one is Visual Force controller. So any Visual Force page definition, that means assume that this is a Visual Force page. Any Visual Force page consists of two elements majorly. Any Visual Force page consists of two elements majorly. The first element is Visual Force markup and the second one is Visual Force controller. Now what is the Visual Force markup? Visual Force markup is Visual Force markup have tags. Have Visual Force tags, okay, or HTML or JavaScript or any other web-based code embedded in Apex page. We'll discuss what is this Apex page and all. Please try to understand this point. What I am trying to say here. So if you see here, any page definition or any Visual Force page consists of two things. Visual Force markup and a Visual Force controller. What Visual Force markup will give for us? What this Visual Force markup consists? This consists of Visual Force tags or HTML or JavaScript or combination or anything appended or anything embedded within Apex page. What is Apex page? We will see later. What does it mean? So if you see here, you are getting the button. You are getting the button maybe using HTML, maybe using delete. You created this layout. This layout you can get it from Visual Force Tags or HTML or JavaScript. That's what the meaning. That means what? If you see in this page, you are getting the buttons, you are getting the layouts, you are getting all these things. These are all coming from Visual Force Tags or HTML or JavaScript or so on so on so, which is embedded inside this one. That means what? Let's say you are creating a button in HTML. How do you create the button in HTML? Input type is equal to button. Input type is equal to button. So you are creating a button in the HTML. Input type is equal to button. This will give what? Outcome is button. Okay, outcome is button. But where this input type is equal to button, you have to write inside the HTML. Inside the HTML body. Now you need to end this one. How many people knows HTML? At least little bit or whatever it may be. So at least I have written something to create a button. I hope everyone knows this one. If you don't know, please let me know now itself. I just write a logic to create the button in the HTML. How many people don't know this one? Suprit, Shiva, Varsha. I need some response from you guys so that I come to know what is the frequency I need to maintain in the classes. If you know this one, then I am good. If you don't know this one, then we need to see something else. Shiva, Suprit, Varsha, you there? Okay, Suprit, I'm sure you know. Shiva? No idea. Get idea. You don't have other option. You have to get the idea. Okay. So if you look at here, if you want to write a C program to display your name, how do you write? Main, okay, printf Shiva. Main printf Shiva. This is how you write. If you want to write using HTML, how do you do? Instead of main, you will say HTML. You will say HTML. Here you have something called open tag or open braces. Here you will have something called body. I am just trying to correlate. Then here you are displaying using printf. Here you can directly display Shiva. Then here you are closing. The same way here also you close. /body /HTML. That's it. This is how you can remember if you don't know HTML or C language, all these things. Now, if you want to display same name using Apex, then or using Visual Force, what you do? You will be using Apex:page. Apex:page. So here also you will be having, it's already tagged, so you don't need. So you will be displaying something called Shiva, and you will be closing it. You will be closing it. Apex:page. So that is how the difference. See here, if you want to display your name using C language, what you do? Main, open brace, printf Shiva, then close. If you want to display your name using HTML, instead of main you will be having HTML, then body, then you will display Shiva, then you will close all the tags. Here you will call it as functions, here you will call it as tags, because it's a markup language. It's a programming language. In the programming language, we have functions. In the markup language, we have tags. Just name changes, that's it. Now in the HTML, you will be having HTML. In the Visual Force, you will be having Apex:page. That means now onwards, whenever I write Apex:page, that's nothing but the HTML. HTML start. So that's how you will be having the Visualforce tags or HTML or something and all. Okay. Now, what are the controllers? What are the controllers? I already told you controllers are nothing but what your edit button, the RGs and all. So those are nothing but instructions. Instructions that specifies what happens when a user interacts. When user interacts. When user interacts with what? With UI. UI in bracket button or whatever it may be, link or diagram. So this is nothing but a way of I just written the same thing in some other words. That's it. Because I don't want to cover all the stuff every time same definition. I mean everyone can define on their own way. This is another kind of definition. Instructions. Controller is nothing but instruction that specifies what happens when we click on or when the user interacts with the UI. So that's what I told. So this is the UI. I am the user. What happens when I click on the edit? So it will open a new page. Okay, and the fields whatever there, those are displayed in the editable format. Those are displayed in the editable format. That's nothing but again controller. That's what I defined here. That's what I defined here. Now, so I said here, I said this is a tag and the Apex page is also tag. Apex page is also tag. So we have majorly two types of tags. We have majorly two types of tags. So what are those two types? Static tags and dynamic tags. And dynamic tag. Please visualize you are the, so don't worry about if you don't know HTML, if you don't know all these things. So if I say, if you want to write a Visualforce programming, then starting is Apex page, ending is /Apex page. That's how you can remember. What else? Why do you need HTML? If you know HTML, you can compare it. If you know C language, you can compare it. If you don't know, assume that this is what you are beginning and start. That's it. Okay. Now coming to here, so Visualforce uses tags. So we have two tags majorly. So the first one is static tag and second one is dynamic tag. What is the difference, or when to use static tag, when to use dynamic tag? So if you look at the static tag, static means what? Content is fixed. Static means what? Content is fixed. So content is fixed means what? Predefined data. So static tag, not tag. So we will be having two types of tags. Static tag, that means so if you look at here, always ABC comes, yes or no? Yes. That means what? It is a static. So sometimes ABC comes, sometimes ABC something else comes, all these things, then it is called dynamic. So therefore, whenever you want the predefined data, for what? For view, then you will go for the static content or static tag. That means what? If you look at here, this ABC is always fixed. This title is always fixed. So if your content is fixed in the page, then you will go for the static content or static tags. Predefined data, that means fixed data for view, then you will go for the static tag. And remember this, whenever you are using static tag, you cannot connect to controller. So if at all you are using the static tags, then you can't write the logic to connect to the controller. That means what? This is a view connect to the controller. Yes or no? Yes. So this is not possible if at all you are using a static tag. Because no need at all, because you are fixing your data. You are fixing your data. If you are fixing your data, why do you want to go to the controller? So you no need to go to the controller. So therefore, exchanging data between view and controller is not required. That's why if it is a static tag, then cannot connect to the controller. That is very much important point. That is what you need to explain. Now dynamic tag. So it is quite reverse. So here it is a data is what? Predefined. So in case of dynamic, runtime determine the data. Data determined at runtime. Data determined at runtime or in runtime. That means what? Let's see here. So I click on this one. When I click on this one, it is talking to the database and getting the number of records. So today 5 records are there. Do you think that tomorrow also 5 records? It may be more. Day after tomorrow, it may be more. That means the data is coming from the database. That means data is decided at runtime. If data is decided at runtime, then you need to go for the dynamic tag. So dynamic tag determines the data at runtime. So therefore, so it can connect to controller. As it is able to connect to the controller, so the controller will go to the database. So if you look at here, so I need the data. I need the data dynamically. I need the data dynamically means I go to the controller or view talk to the controller. Controller will go to the model and push the data to the UI. Controller will go to the model and push the data to UI. That's what I am trying to say. This is a view. I click on this one. When I click on this one, is nothing but what? Controller. What controller is doing? It is going database and it is checking this object is having how many objects, how many records. It is fetching all the records and displaying in the UI. So that means data is determined at runtime and it is connected to the controller. It is connected to the controller. Any questions till now? If no questions, now before Visualforce, okay, before Visualforce, we have something called S controls. S controls. So that means before Visualforce hardly came 5 years or 8 years back, I can say. Oh yeah, around 2010 it came, 2010 or 9, maybe 6 years. So before that we have something called S control. Now let's understand, because some of the interviewers were asking what are the differences between Visualforce and S control. So let's understand few differences between S control and Visualforce. I am not typing, I am just showing it here because typing is going to take good amount of time. I don't want to spend the time for this. So if you look at here, these are the comparisons between S control and Visualforce. These are some of the differences between S control and Visualforce. Visualforce uses HTML and XML, but your S control uses Ajax toolkit something and all. So it is a markup language, it is a procedure language or procedural coding. What is the If you look at here, C language is what? Structured programming. Pascal is what? Procedure programming. Your Java is what? Object-oriented programming. So there is a style of coding. So what are the types of coding styles? How many styles are there? Can anyone tell? How many types of coding styles are there? Anyone? Varsha, Shiva, Sukrit? How many types of programming styles are there? That means procedural coding is one kind of programming style. The same way, how many styles are there? You guys are there or sleeping? How many types? I am asking the count. Yes, I agree. Object-oriented programming is one kind of style. Procedure, one style. Like that, how many coding styles are there?
Don't know.
Shiva? Okay. So there are 4 types only. The first one is monolithic programming style. That's nothing but the monolithic programming style. It is like 1960s programming, before 1960s or before. If you look at here, monolithic programming language, the example is BASIS. Did anyone work with BASIS? Not SAP BASIS. There is a programming called a BASIC. Sorry, that's not BASIS, it's a BASIC. So that basic programming language, programming style is monolithic programming language. The second one is procedure programming language. The procedure programming language examples are Pascal and COBOL. Pascal and COBOL. Next, there is a structured programming language. The example is C language. Next, there is one more thing called object-oriented programming language. That's nothing but Java, all these things. So many are there with the object-oriented programming. Java, even Salesforce is also object-oriented programming language. Your Apex is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, your SAP is object-oriented programming language. All the steps are object-oriented programming language. So therefore, what are the programming, how many types of programming styles are there? 4. Monolithic, procedure, structure, object-oriented. So if you look at here, Visualforce is tag based, but this is a procedure based, and these are the rendering mechanisms. Okay, so if you look at here, this point is important. Standard library functions. So that means there are some library functions for the Salesforce if you use the Visualforce, but if you are using the S controls, you don't have any library functions. If you don't have any library functions, that means what? It is very difficult to use. Maybe if interviewers are asking why are we not or why we come out from S controls and why we started using Visualforce, you can highlight this one. You can highlight this one. What is this meaning? If you look at here, you have a Salesforce. To interact with the Salesforce, you require some APIs. If you have some APIs, then coding will be easy. That kind of APIs are not there if you are going for the S control, but that kind of APIs are there if you go for the Visualforce. That's what the meaning. Now, one more difference you can see here. This is another difference you can highlight. Data binding. Just now I said, if you are using the Visualforce, Visualforce is providing API to interact with the Salesforce. That means data binding is possible. That means from your backend to front end, you can bind the elements. But if you are going for the S control, you don't have the API to interact with the Salesforce. That means data binding is not possible. That means your UI and your backend data binding is not possible. What is the meaning of binding? Let's see. I go here. I click on edit. What is the UI element here? UI element is text box. Where the ABC is coming from? Your ABC is coming from the backend. Now, if you look at the description, this is what? Text box. Your UI element is text box. Where this ABC1 is coming from? Database. As this UI element and the database table column are binded, that's why you see both at once. That's why you see both at once, or both in the similar time. So that kind of bindings are not possible if you are going with the S controls. These are the major things. So therefore, if you remember these two, then you are good to explain. You are good to explain. Other things are very minor things, performance, all these things. But why are we not going for Salesforce? Why are we not going for S control? You can remember the component library is available if at all we are going for the Visualforce to interact with the Salesforce. The component library is not available if you go for the S control to interact with the Salesforce. As component library is not available, so therefore data binding is not possible in case of S control. Data binding is possible in case of Visualforce as we have a component library available. Like that plenty are there, but those are the minor. So if you focus that 2 points, I'm good with that. Now, okay, so this is over before we have Visualforce and this one. The next one is, please remember Visualforce, sorry. Visualforce is derived from XSD. I'm introducing so many new terminologies. That's where that's the power of theory. So if you look at here, each one is a powerful point here. Visualforce is derived from XSD. What is XSD? What is XSD? So in the HTML world or in the web world or in the web service world, let me put it in this way. In the web service world, you have different terms. One is XML, second one is DTD, XSD, HTML, like that plenty of the words are there. So your XSD is nothing but extended schema definition. That means what? If you look at, everyone knows XML, right? XML is having two flavors. So the first flavor is DTD, or the second one is XSD. So therefore, your Visualforce uses XSD format instead of DTD format. What is a DTD? Data definition types or document type definition. Sorry, DTD is document type definition. So if you don't know what is the DTD representation, XSD representation, you just remember that conclusion, that is fine for us. Because if you want me to cover how DTD definition works, how XSD definition works, then it is going to take minimum 3 classes. Because I need to explain document type definition, then I need to show at least one program using document type definition. Then I need to explain XSD definition, or I need to explain XSD, and I need to tell how data will be represented using XSD. So for us it's not required because Visual Force derived from XSD. That means XSD will be in backend. I don't need to worry. That means what? In the Visual Force I am doing something, when it is compiled it will be in the format of XSD. That's what you need to remember. So the Salesforce page is there. Behind the Salesforce page you will be having XSD. So therefore Visual Force is derived from XSD, Extended Schema Definition. DTD means document type definition. What is XML expansion? Extended Markup Language. I think everyone knows. And if you look at here, I said Visual Force is derived from XSD. Your XSD supports, this is just a conclusion, XSD supports almost up to 40 different data types. 40 different types of values. 40 different types of values. So what are the different types of values? So what are the different data types available? So you have different data types available: string, integer, long, date, like that plenty are there. So therefore your XSD supports up to 40 different data types values. 40 different data type values. That's what the meaning. So the conclusion, if you want here, you can just remember your Visual Force derived from XSD. That means you are writing Visual Force means the behind there will be XSD supporting for your Visual Force. That conclusion is enough for us. Now I already told you. So in the HTML we have HTML. In the Visual Force we have something called Apex:"page. So in the HTML, so let me give this as a conclusion. This conclusion is enough for me to write the programming. So in the HTML you have something called, if you want to write HTML programming you will be using HTML. If you want to write Visual Force programming, then you will be using this one. Then what is the Apex here? Apex is nothing but a prefix, and this is page is nothing but tag. So if you look at here, Apex is what? Ownership or prefix. Apex is what? Ownership or prefix. And page is what? Tag. Page is what? Tag. Now if you look at here, in the programming we will be writing something like this: Apex: page. Okay. So name is equal to, let's say, Channa page. Assume that this one. Now here, this is called attributes. What is page is called tag. Apex is what? Ownership. Apex is what? Ownership. That means who is giving this one? Who is giving this tag? Who is giving? Apex is giving. That's why I said it is ownership. So who is giving the page tag? Apex is giving. So that's why Apex:"page. This is a tag and this is attribute. This is attribute. So the conclusion is a tag can have n number of attributes. A tag can have n number of attributes. So therefore, if you look at here, name is equal to name is equal to Channa page is an attribute in where? Attribute in page tag. So the conclusion is a tag can have n number of attributes. So we'll see what are the different attributes available in the page tag in coming days. If you remember this conclusion, I'm good with that. Any questions till now? So therefore, in the HTML we have something called HTML. In the Apex we will be or in the Visual Force we will be having something called Apex:page. So what is the meaning of Apex here? It is a ownership or it is a prefix. What is the page here? Page is a tag. That means page tag who is providing? Apex is providing. Or page tag is part of the Apex. Or where page tag is defined, it is defined in the Apex. It is also called as namespace. So therefore, it is having an attribute called Channa page. So Channa page is a tag or attribute available in the page tag. So therefore, a tag can have n number of attributes. So we'll see what are the other attributes in the page tag when we read the programming. Now, next question may be what are the benefits or where to use Salesforce or where to use Visual Force pages. Where to use Visual Force pages? Now you can tell very well because I have shown you plenty of the examples. So Visual Force you are going to use, so when button is clicked, when I click, I am having this page. Instead of this page, I want to use my own page. Then go for the Visual Force. Visual Force. Okay. If you want to have your own tabs, go for the Visual Force. If you want to, whatever it may be. So instead of this one, instead of standard one, if you want your own steps, then go for the Visual Force. So here there is a page. Instead of this page, you want your own page. Then go for here. You have dashboards. This is how dashboards looks right now. If you don't want this one, then create your own and attach it here. You have reports, and if you don't want this format, and then go for the Visual Force and create your own. Okay, like that you can tell where to use Visual Force. Now the next question is benefits of Visual Force. What are the benefits of Visual Force? What are the benefits? Now you can tell plenty of the benefits. So the Visual Force, if you look at here, Channa employee object, this look and feel is not good. If you are creating your own page, then you will be getting excellent look and feel. That means what? You can write your own way. So if you look at here, I have a only employee ID here. When I click on this one, it is going to the details. Why can't I have everything here itself? Then you can create your own page. That means you can able to achieve the look and feel. If you are able to achieve the look and feel, then it is a user friendly. If it is a user friendly, then obviously people will use more. If people are using more, then obviously the what is that? If more people, then better UI, more people. More people means if it is a sales or marketing kind of application, then obviously your sales or marketing will be increased. These are the advantages of the Visual Force. Now I would like to explain Visual Force architecture. Visual Force architecture is defined in two ways. One is a developer perspective, another one is end user perspective. So therefore, developer Visual Force architecture. Developers developer, Visualforce architecture. Then end user, Visualforce architecture. So please understand this one. If you are sleeping till this time, but you need to back up. I don't want to draw this. I can take from here and I can explain to you. Yeah, see. Yeah. Yes. Visualforce architecture. I would like to complete this one then so that we can start the coding tomorrow. Okay, let me take this one. Yeah, here itself we have, right? Yeah, if you look at here, these are the stuff. Okay, let me take the screen of this one. So you need to understand the Visualforce architecture, where it is going to be deployed, all these things. Let me take this one. And put it in the here. Developer architecture. Actually, end user architecture. This is the end user architecture. Okay, let me talk about these two now. So Visualforce developer architecture and this one. Okay, please try to understand. Assume that for developer perspective, I will be developing assume that here is a developer. So developer will do what? He will develop this kind of page. That means he will develop it. Once he develops, through internet, because it is a cloud-based environment. Through internet, I am going to put this page in the platform called force.com. I already told you. So to write our own application, force.com is providing the API. That means what? Force.com is a platform for us to develop the application. Force.com is a platform to develop our own application. So that means I am a developer, I write the Visualforce, and through internet I am going to deploy into the force.com. When I try to deploy in the force.com, there will be two things: database and application server. Database and the application server. What this application server will do? It takes your page and compiles it. Because you are writing a Visualforce page, it takes your Visualforce page and compiles it. And gives the results to the developer. That's nothing but page renderer. That page renderer is nothing but giving the results to the developer. How it will give the results to the developer? Through internet. Finally, developer will have the results results in terms of HTML. Please remember this. Even though you are creating a visual force, end of the day, the result is a HTML. I am repeating this again. You are creating a visual force page. Once you create through internet, you try to deploy in the same.
అది అక్కడ ఒకటైతే నువ్వు అక్కడ ఒకటైతే నేను చెప్పేది అది ఎక్కడ నువ్వు ఒకటైతే నువ్వు అక్కడ ఒకటే కొడుతుంది ఆకు బీకు ఉంటా.
Okay, so if you look at here, developer is developing the page. Once he develops through internet, he is going to deploy in the Folds.com. In the Folds.com, there are two things: application server and database. In the application server, there is something called page compiler. So it is going to compile your page, and page renderer is the one which takes the page and converts into HTML and gives the results. In between, if there is a data, that data is going to be stored in the database. That is in terms of developer. Now end user. End user, what he will do? He will not write any code. He will try to access the pages. How he will access the pages? Through internet, where the pages are available in the database. So that's why for the end user, it will go through application server. Application server will go and get the page, and the page renderer converts the page into HTML and gives the results to end user. So therefore, you need to remember, for developer there is something called a page compiler. For end user, page compiler is not required, because the compilation is not there, because he is not going to develop any page. But developer only develops the page. That's why developer uses, or for developer there will be page compiler which compiles the page and keep in the database, and the page renderer takes the page and converts into HTML and gives the results to the user. That's how the architecture works. That's all for today. If you have any questions now, you can ask me, else we can stop here. Any questions? Shiva, Supreet, I don't know how many people are still available. Shiva, Supreet, Varsha.
No, good one.
Shiva? Okay. Shiva, any questions? If no questions, we can stop here. We can continue tomorrow with the coding. Thank you. Bye.